Welcome to Out of the Blue, the podcast, a platform dedicated to celebrating inspirational stories of resilience, transformation, and those life changing moments that truly come out of the blue. I'm your host, Vernon West, joined today by my amazing daughter and co host, Jackie West, our marketing manager, a professional musician, and Reiki healer. Today's guest is someone whose story embodies perseverance and purpose. Rusty Nosser, known by many as the Walking Man, has faced more challenges than most. Born in Vicksburg, Mississippi, Rusty grew up an athlete and an outdoorsman and went on to study at Ole Miss, where he graduated with a degree in integrated marketing. Life seemed steady until a series of hardships, including two near-death experiences and a difficult divorce, forced him to confront life at its toughest. But Rusty didn't stop there. Instead, he turned to a passion that became his calling, competitive speed walking. He has since earned multiple titles, founded global productions and his Walking Man apparel line, and continues to inspire his community by showing up each day in neon gear, dancing through the streets of Oxford. His motto is simple but powerful. You do not give up. Rusty's journey is captured in his book, Walk of Life, From Death to Glory, which is now being adapted into a feature film starring athlete and performer Brooke Logan. His story has been spotlighted on Prime 7 Media with esteemed host Logan Crawford, and his life continues to be a testament to the power of resilience, faith, and forward motion. So join us as we walk along Rusty through trials, triumphs, and the unstoppable spirit of a man who refuses to quit. Rusty, welcome to Out of the Blue, the podcast.
I thank you, Vernon, very much so. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. So glad to have you here, Rusty. So I know you, I really don't think me and Jackie, we'll add the odd question here and there, but boy, I think you got a lot to tell us. So let's start at the beginning. Remember we said the Out of the Blue event, you say that really if you wouldn't be here today if it didn't happen. Where did it all begin?
I would say in the middle of what people tell me it was a journey. It wasn't, maybe your lowest part is when you are out there by yourself. People will learn this, that I was in a town, not in my hometown. I was left there. I was by myself for 3 or 4 days. I actually slept in the woods, trying to figure out what to do. I would get up and go to an indoor-outdoor mall. They had shops on the outside, and you could go inside, and they had shops on the inside. The man walked in that was from my hometown that I had not seen in 40 years, and we embraced and talked. I knew who he was. He went to school with my older brother, and we visited for about 20 minutes. And he finally said, well, let me take care of my business, and if you're here when I come back, we'll visit. And, I have to leave. I said, that's fine. And I was at that point that I was almost ready to capitulate because I was tired. I really was tired. He came back by. We talked a little, and we said goodbye. He walked out to the curb and got into his car. He turned around and went out to the street to leave, and he got to the end of the parking lot. He stopped the car. I saw him stop. He turned around and he came back to the curb where I was sitting at. I went out and said, Johnny, you okay? What's wrong? He said, what are you doing here? And I really didn't want to talk about it. And I said, no, Johnny. He said, no, what are you doing here? So I told him a little bit because he knew all the family and he knew all this stuff. He said, no, you come get in the car. He said, get in the car. And I wouldn't get in the car. He said, you had always been one of the good guys. He said, you get in the car. I got in this car. He took me to a hotel. He put me in the hotel and gave me $300. And from that moment on, everything else, as you look back, went up, 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 up. So that person, and I wrote this in the book, that person was my guardian angel. That was my guardian angel and people have told me, somebody sent this person down to you. After all these years, I kind of figured out that it was my mother.
Mhm.
because of something else that happened. But from that point on, everything flipped around and went north, not south. And I would have to point to that. That was my guardian angel right there.
What put you out there on the road that night? Was there something going on in your life? Was it a divorce thing or?
My family, uh, when my parents died, they had the same will, and it was just a matter of who died last. And I was finding out some stuff, and they took me over there to a hospital, of which they released me. They did not come get me, and they left me out there. I didn't have a lot of money. You understand, I was in hospital for 2 days. I had a laptop computer, believe it, of all things. And I would go down there to this mall and get on the laptop during the day, figuring out what I needed to do. Luckily, I grew up as a Boy Scout. I hunted and fished all my life. I took going into the woods, which I understand is not normal, is a camping trip. We used to camp. So that's how I persevered through all that. And it passed. It got to be okay. But you think about being safe. You're you're in survival mode, okay? So you're looking at a place on the side of the interstate that you can see the interstate. There were woods all behind you. I knew nobody was going to come through those woods like that, and that's why I stayed for 3 nights.
Wow.
But I made it.
And that's when the gentleman came and saw you after 3 nights.
Absolutely.
It's like almost like you say, you think it was after years you've thought about it, you think it was your mother that sent this gentleman to you. I understand that feeling, when you are on your own and things seem down and hopeless even, and then something come, you have to think that someone out there let's out there in the when we say out of the blue, we talk about what's out there. Like maybe that is our mother, and maybe that is people that
It
love us.
is. There were people in my whole journey, and there are so many twists and turns on all this, but there were more people that helped me on the outside that my family never did on the inside. And that's why I don't talk to them to this day. And when we finally had to go to court about all this, it took them 17 years to close a family estate. Nobody believes that. The national media does not believe that. They told me it was something worse than that. I always tell people, I said, well, look, who persevered? Who persevered? It was me, not them. I guess jealousy and greed took them down. And I preach that to this day. Jealousy and greed will take you down.
I 110% agree. My own life experiences would back that up 1,000,000%. I've seen it happen in my life, and I'm sure other people have it well, people that are listening right now. So it's like in the Bible, it says, I don't like to quote by, I can do another Bible show, but vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I read that in the Bible.
That's right.
And it's so true that you just got to let go. That's another saying I love, let go and let God.
I would go at one point. I would go up here occasionally, and as an getting it off your chest, I would go talk to my preacher in the church I belong to. And he told me two quotes that I listened to. He said, number one, don't become vengeful because all it's going to do is destroy you. And he also told me, he said, Rusty, you're walking through hell. He said, you know what hell looks like. He said, why do you want to stop at hell? He said, just keep walking. You'll walk out the other side. You had to go through all that stuff. People to this day, they always tell me, we don't know how you survived that. We don't know how you made it through that. I said it was probably with the grace of God because, it's 1, 2, 3 times that you've almost died. I said, somebody's looking over you. And I've heard that 1,000 times in my life. I heard it yesterday. Somebody says, God got a plan for you. I said, thank you. I said, but I've heard this before and I appreciate that. But so it must be it's the first thing that people say when they find out what happened. You're out there, you're 23 years old, you're you're on top of the world. You don't have a issue or problem in the world. You go duck hunting. Me and my first cousin, we were tight. We got a big family and cousins and so forth. And we paddled into a flooded bean field that was on my parents and my uncle's good friend, big farm on the Mississippi River, cold, and the ducks that were falling down were, you couldn't have made a movie any better than what we saw that morning. We were excited, shooting out of the boat, shoot. Finally, we decided to get out of the boat, and I told him I was going to walk up the tree line and get on up there some ways and keep the ducks flying back and forth. I walked away, excited, shoot it. We turned, he turned, the ducks fell in, and he shot me at about 40 feet. It knocked me off my feet. Of course, most people know that I'm blind in my right eye because of this, and but I lived through it. And that's what I always tell, how quickly your life changes around. What you're in that situation, what do? You know, it's pandemonium. Your adrenaline is flowing, and my poor cousin, who has now passed away, he froze. He couldn't move. He didn't say a word.
Wow.
And how do you get out of there? He freezes. I'm shot. I had to put him in the boat and paddle out. That's the only way we're gonna get out. And but your life changes like that. You know,
Absolutely.
It does something to you. You know, and I had numerous surgeries and so forth, and it never worked out. But we tried. Me and my parents went all over the country. We went to Boston, went to Miami of Florida, UCLA Medical Center, Houston, Texas. Didn't work, but we tried. And that's what I was getting back to. When it was all said and done, what my mother said to me when I got home, and that was after almost 2 years of wishing and hoping. She was a retired nurse and a surgical nurse on top of that. And she was tough like this. She let you have your pity party for about 10 minutes, and then she sat on the bed. And she said, what are you going to do? Are you going to beat this, or is it going to beat you? And that became my rally cry for the rest of my life. I think about this every single day.
I love that she asked you, like she gave you the option. I feel like that puts you in such a position of self empowerment, you know?
Well, my parents were good about making you think, and that actually became my rally cry. And I have taken it with me for up to my life until today.
That is something anybody out there listening, that's something we all can use. You know, I love that statement. I mean, that really comes up. I come up across lots of times things that I'm ready to, I've heard someone say, don't quit before the miracle happens, because that's right. It might be 1 second away and you're going to quit.
I use the analogy of there's a story I listened to one time called the 51st door. They said you can go knock on 50 doors. They shut the door in your face and you're about ready to give up. But that 51st door, somebody opens it and lets you come in. And things can change like that, But the second time is when I had a bleeding ulcer. Now, I did not know, I did not have any pain at all. At that time I was married. My ex was out of town. I had gone to watch an Ole Miss football game with friends, and I drove home. I couldn't barely make it. I had to put my head back on the rest, crawled in the house, crawled on my knees in the house, and I had dogs in, and my dogs were Australian Shepherds, and they're smart. And they came in, and the daddy dog was licking me on the face. Finally, I got up and got in the bed, and I went to lay down. I felt decent. Went to sleep. Woke up about 7 o'clock the next morning, and I couldn't move. I could not move. All I could do is reach for the phone, and I called my parents. At that time, I lived on the lake. They lived 25 minutes away. And I said, something's wrong. Come get me. I can't move. And they did. And when they took me to the emergency room. When I got there, they threw 2 pints of blood on me in a heartbeat. I mean, it was quick. And They got me settled. They put me in the room. They had thrown me in ICU. They gave me some more blood. They gave me staph infection on top of that. And people asked me on the TV interview not too long ago, did you see the light? I said, well, yeah, I did see a light. Uh, I don't tell people all this often enough. I actually saw what I believe to be Jesus.
Really?
People might think you're crazy, but when you lived it and you go through that, and it was like, it's not your time. You got to go back. You got to go back. And I woke up.
Wow.
As I'm leaving 6 weeks later, I knew all the doctors there at the time. And one of them said, I didn't want to tell you this when you were in the hospital, but since you're leaving, that Sunday morning, he said, if you'd have laid in that bed, you'd have been dead by noon because you were gone. He said, you should have been gone now. I had a hemoglobin of 4, which is
I know
practically
that's
dead.
very,
That's
oh my
dead.
God, that's low.
That's low. That's what I had. And so that's when people started saying, you got something else going on here. I've even said it, you escaped death once. You can chalk it up to luck. You got death twice. Something else is going on here.
What do you think that is? Was it something inspiring you to, you think it was something from out of the blue, something from your higher power, something from Jesus
Yes, I do.
telling you
Yes, I do.
you have a purpose?
I did not believe that at first. But then when you look back in my story and this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and it kept going. When you thought that the end of the road or you got into a tough spot and you didn't know really what to do, something happened that opened the door. And now that I look back after all these years, yeah, there's definitely a higher power because I don't think you can chalk that up to luck when it kept happening. I believe it to this day it was my mother. That's what I believe. But it took me years to figure that out. I didn't do that overnight. It took me years to do that.
But the purpose now, that's where we go into your journey. Now that's take us where when you started becoming the walking man, how old were you when that began?
Well, it got me back. And I grew up an athlete. I played football, basketball, baseball. I ran track. I played tennis, swam. I did all this stuff. My former brother-in-law of my ex-wife's side, they used to do a lot of walking around the country. He said, you ought to try this. Now, what a lot of people call it speed walking. There's two differences. There's speed walking and there's power walking. What I actually do, and the media got it wrong years ago, is power walk, which is like that, but a little bit different technique. I started doing this. I ended up, I was in North Carolina racing. I was in Boston racing. I was in New York racing. I got sponsored a little bit. And Nashville, Dallas, Texas, Los Angeles, Eugene, Oregon. And the newspaper here, I would train around this town every morning. Every single Monday through Saturday, I would walk around the town square. The town is a square. It's got the courthouse in the middle. And I walk all around there. And they found me on Facebook and they wanted to do an interview. And I wouldn't do it because back then I would talk about the story. And my friends got a hold of it. Go up and tell this story. I finally agreed to go up there and I told the story. Now, I knew they would put it in the newspaper. I didn't know they were going to pop it on the front page. I really did not know that. That's where I lost control of the story, that it went kind of viral. Then came the state newspaper on the sports section. Then came the USA Today. They did a video also. That video is still on the internet. Producers came and we did 4 documentaries. In Dallas, Texas, is where the ESPN came and talked to me. And he said, you need to write this story. And I said, I'm not an author. I'm an athlete. I don't know anything about it. And we talked, but we parted ways. But when they popped this in the local newspaper here, they got a hold of it. And they said, we told you to write the story. So I agreed to write the story. And lo and behold, at the end of it, the people from California called me And I still think to this day it's ESPN. And they wanted to come talk to me about my story. I said, you can come down here. I'll meet you in Memphis. I'm not going to let you come here yet. I met them in Memphis and they wanted to buy my rights and I wouldn't sell my rights. I wouldn't do that. I got a hold of the professor here at Ole Miss in the theater department way up top. He said, come over here. I'll talk to you about it. And he helped. He said, I'll help you. And I wrote this thing. My own words. Pretty much my own words. And it is right there. I got the whole thing right there. That's probably close to a 2-hour movie, but there's a lot of things in the racing and a lot of things that happen along that way that's going to make it jaw dropping because people won't believe all of it.
Tell us a couple of those jaw-dropping moments. I'm all curious.
Going through the well, one of them had to be Eugene, Oregon. I was up there. It's 40 degrees and it's misty rain. You know how it does in the Northwest up there. And that was probably the most miserable race there is. Now, you understand that a marathon is 26.2 miles and you're out there for almost 6 hours.
Yep.
Dallas was the one where there was a guy named, and he's in the book, called Sato. Sato was a champ. And that's why ESPN came and talked to me, because I upset Sato. Those moments like that you will never forget in life. And it was like, after all that had happened, all the good stuff was coming behind it, see. I go out there every morning still. I put in 5 to 6 miles every morning. And people toot the horn. They still toot the horn. That was a focal point of the whole town, was people would toot the horn and wave, and I would always point at them. And I did it in the newspaper when they did the article. I said, I didn't want them to get the wrong idea. I said, that is my way of recognizing you. So they would toot the point, and I would point at them. And that's going to be shown in the movie too. That's what I did. It's been a hell of a journey. I didn't ask for it, but when it came and happened, you got to open the door. I always say this: when you do a marathon, it's you against you, and it all boils down to your mental toughness, because that's no matter who you are and how well you are, the bear is going to come jump on your back, and you have to be ready for it. You have to be in the right mindset to push through that to get to the end.
That must be something that anyone that does cross-country long-distance running must deal with that.
Sure. I don't care who you are. It's going to hit you, and that's where your mental condition comes in. You have to be strong-minded. A marathon is going to hurt. You train yourself to tolerate the hurt. That's what you do. You train yourself to tolerate this hurt. They asked me not too long ago, was I going to race again? I said, guys, 10 years of doing professional marathons and training like that, because it takes a lot out of your day.
Oh, yeah.
All I did was eat, sleep, and train. You get to a point.
That's
maybe
why I stopped.
Yeah, you know what the training
Yeah.
is. I mean, you're training 3 or 4 hours every morning. And I tell people, it is not about just the training. It is about what you eat.
I just wanted to say that something that I thought about when you were talking about being ready for the bear to jump on your back, kind of at all times. I went back to a race that I did, a 5K in high school. And I remember my coach saying, you might be nervous right now because you haven't started physically running yet, but the race doesn't start right now necessarily. The way that you are right now is the way that you are while you're running, is the way that you are when you're done with the race. So just be in everything that you've been working on in yourself now and when the race starts, and
I agree.
through it.
I'm a kind of person. Now, I know you don't know this. I am 5'11". I weigh about 192 pounds this morning. I keep in shape. And when you I'm the guy that goes from here to here real quick. I have a mindset. That's how I think. I go from here to there real quick, and I can do the same thing out there. I change my pace. I can walk on the heels of my feet first, or I can come down on the balls of my feet first. Then I throw them off. I said, look, I can actually change the way I walk and rest a certain group of muscles. I learned that over the years. Your muscles get tired and you change the way you do it. I can walk with my legs, or I can walk actually with my hips and leave my legs, do it. I've always been very quick footed, very quick footed. I'm still pretty quick today. I work on it every day. I believe now that if I ever stop, it's over with. It's done. I'm done. They said, ESPN said I had a God-given talent. I never thought about that. I never, it's what I did every day. It's just my natural DNA. So I don't think about it. I just, like I told them, look, I just do what I do because I can do what I do. And that's, to them, they see it different than me. I never thought about it like that. I never did. I never did. So.
Well, I think, Rusty, this is such an amazing thing to hear about this, how you always choose to get stronger. And that's been like, and I love your powerful motto, which is you do not give up. I think that's
never give up in life. Never give up. Never give up. And there could be other things that happened and so forth, but when I hit that mindset, that I'm going to make it and things were happening good, then I was feeding myself. If something didn't work out quite right, I'm going to make it work out. I'm going to find a way to make it work out. That's how you persevere in life. Success does not drive up in your driveway. You have to go out there to it. And that's just my motto. Just go get in life what you want. You don't, just because too many young folks get out there and something can be hard, they just give up. They just give up. No, you don't do that. You got to go get it. You got to go get it. You got to go get it.
And also, like, when you've chosen something, to remind yourself that you chose this. You're choosing this.
I choose it. I did.
Yeah. So that card, like, you can write, I choose this. And like, if you forget, you can just look at the card like, oh, I choose this.
I choose this. That's exactly right. I do not, having come from, we grew up in a big family, well, parents taught us well, and whatever the hell, because I didn't live down, with them in this latter part when all this mess happened. I always look back, what in the hell happened to them after my parents left? I do not know. They've always told me that your parents are turning over in the grave. I said, well, they probably are, because if my mom and daddy were still living, they would never have let this go on. Never. It wouldn't happen. I could tell you, they were that kind of people. We always were a close-knit family. But having said that, you get into the winning attitude and you're going this way, and that's what you're going to do. If somebody don't want to do it, fine, you have a nice life. I'm going this way. I've already been that way. And I try to teach people without being a teacher, take the extra step, go the extra mile. It's never crowded, And if you get to if you're going to get to the top, sometimes the top can be lonely, but it's peaceful, So I'm a happy person. Yeah, I'm a happy person, and I treat everybody good, and I do what I need to do, and I use my head about what I'm doing out here. That's not always easy about what you got to do, but I persevere. I'll figure a way out. That's why they call me MacGyver.
Yeah.
I'll figure the way out.
God bless you. God bless you, Rusty. This is good stuff. I think when we're talking about the audience that we play to with Out of the Blue, everybody's, we want to figure out what is it about what's out there. And I think your life shows that whatever is out there, you've identified in your heart and mind as to be your mother, and you've identified as your higher power. And It's like that is alone isn't enough. You have to be able to act on these things. You can't just like a lot of people will. A major issue people have sometimes, I think, is they think they're going to manifest it by sitting and thinking and manifesting. But you have to get out there and do it. It's like if you don't get out there and do it, even if it's just a little bit every day towards that goal, I think you're going to see something happen. They will get to the top. Like, I love what you said about that extra mile because it's not going to be crowded. I think that's a
Not
beautiful.
crowded. It's not there. That's right. It's not there.
Not a lot of people going the extra mile. That's why it's not crowded.
That's right. But and I always try to tell people everything I did and have done, it's in my heart. I do it because I want to do it. I do it because it's me. There's nothing false about that. I do it because I love it, and I have pure intentions about it. And when you come from that way, people tend to feel this when I've talked to them, that the emotion of it and what your excitement in doing things, it rubs off on people. They see this to be true, and I just use my talent and what I do out there because I enjoy it. I mean, I can put on, like I told you, I was a DJ in college, and I can put on music. I know music, and that's part of the story. Was I used headphones at first. I went out there and I would dance in the street out there to this stuff, and that's how people started watching me do all this stuff, And you might not think that a man is 70 years old can step it. I can step it, because I've never quit. I've never quit. And lifting weights helps you too. I lift a lot of weights and keep my muscles, toned and strong.
Strength
I've
training.
been doing that for 20. That's why I was telling you, if I ever stop, it's over with.
I hear you.
But I keep on doing it every day. I keep on doing it.
That's a really good message for people that hit the ages 65 and above. Don't stop living your life, because if you do,
don't do that. Don't stop that. I have been out here for almost 20 years, walking in the streets out here. Crossed 76,000 miles last week. Trying to make 100,000 miles.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I crossed it last week.
Oh, your total mileage for not just 1 week.
The total mileage. Yeah. I mean, I keep up with it every day. I have it on my phone, on my Apple here.
Yeah.
And I keep up with it. We did a documentary when I hit 50. I have now hit 76, past 76,000 miles.
Wow.
One of my fellow runners who's on Facebook with me, but I've never met him and might not ever meet him. He told me that. He said, Rusty, he said, do you know that at the equator, around the Earth at the equator is 24,901 miles.
So you've gone around 3 times.
3 times. It's 74,703 miles. He said, you have been around the Earth 3 times.
You're halfway to the moon, Rusty. I think you're up.
He told me that too. But and I appreciate that because I tell people that now. He told me that. I never thought about that, but it's true. That's a lot of miles. There's a lot of tennis shoes out here. And I tell them, they say, I'm gonna go out there and walk with you. I said, I've been doing it for years. I haven't seen anybody meet me out there yet. Before coffee, before I go. But yeah, I enjoy doing that, and people have gotten so used to seeing me out there. Like I said, they'll wave and they'll honk the horn, and they still do it to this day. And people, I will stop sometimes and even talk to somebody, But I am probably when I'm walking and did racing, I'm not the same person. Every great competitor has a mean streak in them, and I have one too. It's like you want to, I don't know if I describe it right. You want to fight. You want to do,
It's that fight.
It's like I did football. I'm going to take you down. I'm taking you out. I have that mentality, and the light switch comes on when I go out there, but I keep it out there.
Well, you use that for a good purpose.
That's right.
I can relate to this almost like last week. something happened in my life, and I got angry about it and ended up making myself do more to overcome it. And I found myself doing, like, I'm working on my own challenge because I had gotten cancer, and then I got a thing in my brain, and I lost the right leg. Not lose it physically, but I lost, my brain wasn't reaching it. And I have been fighting to get that back. And this thing happened. And all of a sudden I was so mad, and to channel that right into doing something. And I got all the strength came to me. That anger became like a fire. And it's so
Yeah,
important. You can't forget that. That anger isn't a bad thing. It's almost like your animal self being part of you,
I have.
making
Yeah,
it part
you're
of the whole
exactly right.
thing, you know?
Yeah, and you are exactly right. I mean, I was like that in football. I was like that when I got to college. Played a lot of basketball and got really good at it. I mean, I look back and you have that mean streak, and I don't care if you're Tom Brady or who you are, you're going to have a mean streak in you if you're an athlete.
Because
You
you want to
have to have
win.
that.
You got to
Yeah,
win.
you want to win, and that's
And
what I'm saying. You have that attitude.
you have to
But
overcome
I
so
try to
many
keep
things to win. So many things in
yeah,
yourself, in the world, everything.
and I'm kind of a hyper person myself. I walk fast every day. I walk out there. I can move walking, and move around but it's all good. I try to treat people like I want to be treated.
That's
I
it.
will help somebody if they truly need help. Okay. I've always been that way. My parents taught me that. Uh, you do what you can to help somebody. I don't mean you go overboard. I'm not helping you for life, but I will help you. Because if you continuously give help to somebody, then they're going to get dependent on you. They're not going to get up and do it themselves. So you have to have boundaries, but to help them go and push them in the right direction, I'll be there. I'll be there every day. I'll be there every day.
What we've been hearing is sort of Rusty Nosser's guide to having a great life. And what would you
That's
say
right.
if you were to, okay, we're getting near the end. We want to leave everybody with the final um, speech of some sort that direct instructions. Now, what would Rusty Nosser's, what would you list a bunch of things that you say, I don't care how many, three, five, list a few things that you think are essential to living a full life, Rusty, and getting all your dreams to make them come true. What would
Well,
that list be?
yeah, based on my personal life. Okay, I'm going to say number one, you got to have faith in God and got to have faith in yourself because, like I told you, if you don't have that, you're going to make this a lot harder than what it needs to be. Number two, you got to go out here and make up your mind. This is what you're going to do, and you can start on your own journey by yourself and do what you need to do. You might have friends around you. You might have family. They might not support you. You have to kind of, in your own way, distance yourself. It's not that they're bad people. They just can't go where you're going.
Right.
And do it one step at a time. And when you start making progress and you start understanding what you're doing and how much better you feel, then you'll take the next step and you'll go to the next step. Uh, Whatever that step is. I always strive to be the best person I can be every day. That's my goal. I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. And that just means that you stay constant at what you're doing. Consistency leads you to where you need to be. And the number one word that you need to have to get there is what I did, is discipline. You better learn discipline. I get up every morning at about 4:30. I get up and eat a little stuff. I go out there and hit that street every single day except Sunday because it puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
You become a positive person doing this stuff. You don't have to accomplish everything at one time. I wake up, I say, look, I got three things I'm going to do today. A, B, C. And when you do those three things, you have felt that you have accomplished and you feel good about what you did. If you're trying to look at 15 to do and you can't do it, you're going to feel like you're defeated.
Right.
Just do three things. That's all you need to do. And every day you just move forward higher and higher and higher. And tell people the last thing mostly, take care of your body. It's the only place you got to live. Your body is the only place you got to live. So you better take care of it. If you don't have time to work on your wellness, you're gonna find time to work on your illness.
Ah, so true.
And
Oh
and
my
so
God, that's true.
I eat healthy, I really do, but I had that cheat day on Sunday. You know, I'm going for my M&Ms, and I'm going for something like that because I'll eat them. But you got to have a cheat day, okay?
Yeah, you got to have a little fun.
And I do not share my M&Ms with nobody.
Oh,
I don't. I eat every one of them I can. I'll eat them. I eat every one of them.
Well, I can tell you this, wrapping it up, I would say everybody's listening, if you follow the things that Rusty is explaining here, here's a man who's, how many marathons have you run? Maybe over 10 years of marathons and probably a few a year?
No, I did 10 professional marathons. I trained for one every year.
For 10 years.
And that's what I did. But I've been out there for 20 years walking. Okay?
So yes, I'm just going to say, you've run 10 marathons.
Yeah.
You've covered almost 75,000 miles on walking. And if you're going to take some advice on how to live a good life and live it right, this is the man to listen to. Live it right. Find a connection with get God or a higher power in your life. Say what you're going to do it, and follow the instructions for us. You get out there and make it happen. Don't quit. You do not. I'm going to say it one more time. You do not, according to Rusty, you do not ever give up, right?
Don't give up. Don't give up. Go the extra mile, and you will find out that things happen when you just think you're going to quit. It's when it happens to you, because that's what happened to me. I was about to give up until this happened to me, and that man came, and it all turned around. So yes, it can happen. It does happen, and it will happen. And I tell them all the time, keep going. You know, it'll turn out good.
So thank you, Rusty, author
Thank
of
you, sir.
Walk of Life, From Death to Glory.
Yes,
soon to be a motion picture. So if you
Well-
want to get a movie made about your life, listen to Rusty and do not say it, Rusty. I'm going to let you have the honor. What is it, that phrase?
What are you going to do? Are you going to beat this, or is it going to beat you?
You do not give up, and that's Rusty Motto. Thanks for joining us today, Rusty. What
Thank
a
you,
great, inspiring episode of Out of the Blue, the podcast. Thank you, Jackie. And oh my God, I hope to see you again, Rusty. We're going to check back with you because we're going to follow you along your career and your wonderful things exploding. Because
I certainly appreciate that, Jackie. Good to talk to you. See you too, dear. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you for your inspiring story. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, my dear. And you take care of yourself.
You too.
Okay. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
You too.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us here on Out of the Blue. Out of the Blue, the podcast, hosted by me, Vernon West, co-hosted by Jacqueline West, edited by Joe Gallo, music and logo by Vernon West III. Have an Out of the Blue story of your own you'd like to share? Reach us at info@outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. Subscribe to Out of the Blue on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and on our website, outoftheblue-thepodcast.org. You can also check us out on Patreon for exclusive content.